2 days until Bitcoin's weekly close. If it does not receive a close above this line, the Moon Boys better prepare their bottoms for maximum spankage. Or can the Bulls pull off a last-minute switcheroo? So if you understand that before things can get big, they're usually small, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to Femex below if you buy Bitcoin, altcoins, trade, and receive a massive deposit bonus as well. And without any further ado, let's absolutely dump into these charts where we see right now the price of Bitcoin. I mean, let's just, you know what? Let's not even sugarcoat this. Let's just go in raw. Bitcoin basically has to have a bounce here. So one of the reasons I say that, if we look at Bitcoin's weekly chart, we're just a couple of days away from getting a weekly candle close. And if we get the weekly candle close we're at right now, that's, how do I put this? Not super bullish. Whereas we had a very good actually weekly close last week where we closed exactly on this 21-week moving average. But if we don't get a bounce here, and in fact we get our next weekly candle to actually close lower, then that's a confirmation of a little bit of more dumpy downside that we, if you're shorting, then that's a good signal. If you're longing in the short term, that's a bad signal. We want to get a weekly close above this. Not only that, if we actually look, again, at the daily chart for Bitcoin, right now we're below the 21-day, the 200-day, and we, at this very second, however, are right in the middle of the 21 and 50-day moving averages. So a strong bounce here is very needed. Basically, Bitcoin needs to get a weekly candle close above 63,000 US dollars. Now keep in mind, we still have about a little over 50 hours at the time of recording this video until we get that. So, I mean, again, a lot can happen in 2 days, but really Bitcoin needs a pretty strong close here to really signal and try to actually break out of this now, 7-8 month long sideways / dumpy pattern that we've been in. It's a really important moment. Bitcoin needs a bounce here. And actually, I want to take a look even at this tweet. Chimp of the North saying, "If not now, then never," meaning we need a bounce here. I fully agree. This is a really important part, a really important point where Bitcoin needs to show some strength. The S&P at literally record highs right now, looking great. Bitcoin has not been following. Bitcoin has not even been keeping pace with the S&P the last couple of weeks. And it needs a bounce here, truly. The weekly chart, you can see, if we get a close below this 21 week, real support is all the way down again, a little above 56,000. So it's not all doom and gloom, but really, another revisit to this 50-week moving average could end up being bullish for sure in terms of consolidation, but it doesn't, Bitcoin just needs to show some strength here. It needs to start actually getting daily closes above these daily moving averages, the 50 right here, which it needs to get another daily close above pretty much 61,000. To get above the 21-day, it needs to get a daily close above 63,000. And then the 200-day is not much further off. It's about 63.5, so 64 would be amazing for that. Honestly, if Bitcoin starts putting in daily closes above 63, that's, this can quickly turn into a bullish reversal. But the reason I'm saying this is because that if we don't get closes above 63, then I personally think it could very easily and probably pretty quickly turn into continued dumpy. So it is crunch time. It is crunch mode. You can see that we've put in this higher high at the very end of September. So far, potentially, and you see this nice wick here that we got yesterday, potentially this could be another higher low, which would be beautiful. It's actually higher than this, but more importantly, we want to get daily closes well above 53,000. If we go below 53,000 again, I think we would. We're still so far away from that. At this very moment, we're almost $10,000 away from that. But really, if we get a daily close below that, then, that's a very bearish scenario. Again, I'm saying, that we're not even close to that at this point, but I'm just saying, really, we don't want to get any more daily closes below 57,000. And again, so far we haven't, but we really need a strong bounce here. We really need Bitcoin to start showing strength here. You can see right at this very second, this descending channel for the past 7 months. Right now, this is right where we're facing resistance. We need to start getting daily closes above this. Otherwise, it's very likely we do exactly what we did every single time over the last 7 months that we have gone above this white line right here and failed to get daily and weekly closes consistently above it. Look what happens every single time, or has happened every single time that's happened. It has led to this is like a 10 to 15%. This is a 20% dump after this. From high to low, that was a 25% drop. From high to low, this was a 30% drop. From high to low, this was a 20% drop. And say we get a 20% drop from there, another rejection, you could expect, again, potentially a $53,000 Bitcoin if we can't get strong daily and weekly closes here. So it's so important that actually Bitcoin shows strength. Guys, I'm just being honest here. If it doesn't show strength here, then expect a bigger pullback. As I just showed, potentially even down almost another $10,000 if Bitcoin cannot get some momentum here. Now, at this very moment, there's some green on the charts. By the time I upload it, maybe we're much higher, or maybe this whole pump retraces. But the point is, we absolutely need. Actually, as I started recording, this green, or this red weekly slightly turned into a green. But really, in the next 2 days, this needs to be a green candle. It needs to be above the 21 week. Otherwise, we're just not in a great position for a pump. But we'd be in a great position for a dump. Basically, this is such an important moment. We're right on the edge. It's honestly insane that the Bitcoin has been. I'm going to be honest. It's been it's underperformed the last few weeks specifically, but also really the last few months. As you see on the weekly chart, we have reset so much of this momentum. We're very, very, very close. We're not there yet, but we're very close to a MACD bullish cross, which would be good for the entire long, midterm, even long-term pump for Bitcoin to really give it the juice to really initiate this full-on breakout. Because on the macro, Bitcoin truly has a beautiful setup here. This gigantic cup and handle, really just a good-looking setup. It just needs to follow through, and we're not seeing it yet. The beautiful thing about where we are right now is that it could happen like this, right? I'm talking about potentially. I've already spent a couple minutes talking about hey, if we don't get a good daily and weekly, we could see this thing drop another $10,000. But by the beginning of next week, say we actually get some strong closes, we could actually see this accelerate and do the exact opposite and be a massive fake out. Maybe people have to get liquidated first. Maybe people have to get trapped or just stopped out first and then a big move. But at this moment, Bitcoin really needs to show strength. And it's as simple as that. We're right on the edge again. And every time we're at this line for the past 8 months, every time we were at this line, 1, we got rejected ultimately, but 2, it was literally the point right before the big move. Meaning, again, I keep drawing this, but look how steep all of these dumps were right at this line. So this, to me, I expect massive volatility over the next couple trading days for Bitcoin. Basically, if we don't get a strong close here, if we don't get specifically a strong weekly close, but dailies are really important. If we don't see a pretty big move for Bitcoin to the upside to actually defend this level, then it is just more of the same. It's more of what we've been experiencing for the past couple of months, a strong rejection here. It needs strength. And what's so interesting about this whole thing is that the stock market has been looking good. The stock market has been putting in record highs. The stock market has been doing what historically Bitcoin thrives off of, which is being correlated with it, but Bitcoin has not been correlated. Now, we do see that actually Bitcoin is pumping today for the first time as the DXY is having potentially its first rejection here. So really, by far, one metric that I think is just the most accurate right now is that if the DXY starts dumping, Bitcoin will start pumping. And if the DXY pumps here, if it pumps through 103, so far all of this is indicating hey, then Bitcoin is going to get a big dump. So it is simple enough to look at the DXY right now as the best counter indicator. One thing I do honestly want to take note of as well is that Tesla is absolutely dumping massively because of the robo-taxi event last night. Honestly, it was mixed at first. It was actually pumping initially, but yeah, you can see it is down. I think it's the worst performing in definitely of all the top tech stocks, but overall, yeah, basically, again, to sum up crypto, basically if the DXY gets rejected here, expect a nice pump. If it doesn't, expect a nice dump. And get signed up with Femex below if you want my Bitcoin altcoins trade and receive large deposit bonuses as well. Thank you for the McGee.